Last week we got to explore the beautiful San Juan with James's family, but all too soon our time together came to an end and we began our journey back to St. Maarten to get our fiberglass repairs underway.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me down.
Our overnight sail to St. Maarten is a pretty pleasant one, especially in comparison to when we had no mast. However, about an hour out of St. Maarten, our autopilot kicks off and some strange noises disrupt the silence.
So today was a lesson in I told you so. Fortunately, we didn't pay the price too badly. When we're just arriving to St. Maarten now, and all of a sudden the autopilot started kicking off. Nat heard these loud thumps on the deck, and we didn't know what was going on, and it stopped, and then it happened like a few minutes later, and the autopilot kicked off again. There's thumps coming from the deck. We didn't know what was going on, and then Nat peeked around the corner and saw the anchor dangling off, and luckily she had our safety knot on the anchor, so she runs up to the front, and the windlass is pumping out all of the chain from the anchor locker, because somebody once told us our ghetto windlass remote should be replaced, because if it gets wet, it's going to short out, and who knows what could happen. We were told much worse things, but fortunately Nat's knot saved the day, because if the remote had its way, it would have dumped our anchor and all 250 foot of chain over the side. But yeah, we caught it, so that was a really scary incident, and the guy from FKG that told us we needed to replace this, and we didn't because we were being cheap, he told us so. So one of the things we're definitely going to buy is a new windlass remote. So yeah, that was a hard lesson, but fortunately it didn't, nothing was damaged, so we're pretty happy. As I said, we're pulling into Marigot Bay in St. Maarten now.
St. Maarten!
In St. Maarten. And we're going to drop the anchor. We've had about 17.5-hour run from Virgin Gorda. It took us a lot longer than we thought. We ended up having to motor most of it because we were straight into the wind the whole way, and we didn't feel like turning it into a 2-day trip. But yeah, so we're back to St. Maarten. There's more to that story. Has to do with some of the fiberglass works we had done. We need to get those looked at, and we just figured it would be then the perfect opportunity to do the rest of the jobs we need to do for something exciting that's coming up, which we'll tell you guys more about very shortly.
We go through the first bridge on the French side and then cross a second bridge to the Dutch side. We head straight to FKG so they can prepare the rigging for our fiberglass repairs.
I was just about to show you guys the portside shrouds and what FKG did and removing them, all that, but I see Nat down there working on video, so let's do a little spying, shall we? Hello.
What are you doing?
I was just going to show our friends the portside chainplate.
Oh yeah?
What are you doing?
Videos. All day today.
Yeah.
Editing.
It's Sunday, we can't do anything, can we?
No, so it's been a good day to do it. But I started up in the upright position and then I slowly sink down and down. And it is what? 5 o'clock right now.
Been at it since 9, I think.
Yeah. Full day, full day.
Yeah.
Not working 9 to 5. Way to make a living.
So the first step for the FKG guys was to secure a chain hoist on the port side here, so take the tension off of the shrouds. So here you can see we've got the chain hoist attached to the midship cleat, and that chain hoist runs all the way up. Let's try and get it in the camera for you guys. All the way up, just under the top spreader there, and then they used one of my halyards and they ran that all the way down to the cleat there on the port side, and tension that off as well. So that, they tell me, is enough to keep the mast from moving around. And then, as you can see, they have removed the shrouds, and the shrouds are just sitting here. So there's both of them. I'm just going to put a sock around them so they don't bang against the deck. And that's it. And now our fiberglass guys can kick on.
Why does this seem like deja vu?
Because it is. As we may have mentioned before, they've got to revisit the fiberglassing works because we got some cracks in the chain plate. This was the chain plate that had ripped out originally when the boat suffered hurricane damage. It was repaired, but under our sailing conditions, some cracks have developed. I don't know how bad they are. They have to grind back the gel coat to find out, but got to remove all the kitchen sink again and the plumbing. So, good times. So now that we got the sink out, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the port chain plate tie rod off. Pretty straightforward. We'll pull the pin, I'll back off the stopper nut, and then there's a spot up here where I will basically undo the tie rod from this shackle. Once that's been loosened off, I can pull the pin out of the shackle here, and then yeah, this tie rod basically goes up through the top, and I'll take this little shackle off here, and then we'll have a closer look at the cracks, and it'll be ready for the guys tomorrow. Start on Monday morning. They're gonna start grinding back all the gel coat here, and have a look and see whether we got just gel coat cracking or whether we got fiberglass cracking, or I suspect that it was maybe an imbalance of resin or whatever it is when they mix it with the fiberglass, because it seems to have cracked in areas where there's, it could have pooled up. So, but yeah, we'll check it out. It's loosened off quite a bit, but because this is still a little bit difficult, I'm going to back this out all the way before I take the clamp off. So it should be loosened up now that I can back it off by hand. So for anyone out there with a Beneteau Oceanus 43 around a 2010 year, this is the system they use. Feel free to PM me. I've done this now 3 times, so twice on this side and once on the other side, so I'm happy to go through the details for you. There we go, we'll pull the pin out. That's our pin. The shackle comes out. Take the nut off our tie rod. So there you go, the tie rod's out. Well, the tie rod's out of the shackle. It's just sitting there. I'm just going to go up now to the top of the cabin and pull it through.
The following day, fiberglass works begin. While Zephyr is being filled with fiberglass dust, we decide to step outside and fix our dinghy. Give it a good shake.
Alright, so we are going to try and reseal some of the small holes in our boat. We've got a few air leaks, and yeah, we're gonna use this stuff. It's called sealant for inflatable boats. Fortunately, the previous owner bought it. It's really expensive. This bottle is $89, I believe. I found it in the boat, so that saved us an absolute fortune. So the way this works is we've deflated the boat. We then squirt about 8 ounces into the 3 chambers, and then we reinflate the boat to just rigidity. And then basically turn it end over end over end all the directions, so that there's good coating. We let it stand for 3 to 4 hours, and every half hour we give the boat another flip just so it doesn't pool in one spot. Luckily we have an ultralight boat. I think this thing weighs like 35 kilos, so Nat and I can flip it around pretty darn easy. So I'm glad we don't have a fiberglass boat, because that would suck. So yeah, so we're gonna give this a try. So I don't know what 8 ounces is, because I work in milliliters on the metric system. So I think I'll just wing it. We've got this whole bottle, so maybe we'll use 3 parts.
Where will it end if I let it begin? So bittersweet, you know life's too short, so let's not waste another minute. Hey, it's alright now. Listen to such a beautiful sound. Hey, it's alright now, but I don't know if I can take another go round. Hey, now you know you have to decide, and you gotta tell me what's on your mind. Wait a while, you gotta take a deep breath. I can make you smile when I let you into my bed and under my skin.
Well, we promised you guys a big reveal on what was going to happen going forward for us. But before we do that, it's super important that we take the time to thank all of our wonderful patrons. You guys have been amazing. The support we've had along the way for the last 2-3 months, however long it's been now, has been incredible. Without you guys, we couldn't have done it, and I think it's really touched our hearts, hasn't it? So
Definitely. Thank you so much to all of you, and thank you for believing in us. It's really meant a lot to us, hasn't it?
has.
So
It has.
thank you.
So the big plans. We sort of hinted that we had a big reveal coming. I don't think we've ever really discussed our full plans in length, but for those of you we have talked to, sort of off to the side, our initial plan was always to explore a bit of the Caribbean and then head out through the Pacific and back to Australia with the boat. With all the bow works that have been going on, we've sort of been caught later in the Caribbean than we wanted to, and we haven't really had a chance to explore much of the Caribbean.
We haven't
have we?
seen much at all, so we definitely wanted to come back, and the better option was to head to Europe. So we're going to cross the Atlantic, head on over to the Azores, and then from there go through the Med and explore the Med for a bit. So
Yeah, so we'll spend the summer in Europe this year, and then come back across the Atlantic through the normal trade wind route, and back to the Caribbean and explore the Caribbean next winter, and then head back and then head across the Pacific. So that's our big trip ahead of us. So we're currently in St. Maarten at the moment, and just finishing off a few boat works before we do our big trip across to the Azores. So the Azores is about 2,300 nautical miles. We're going to go St. Maarten direct to Azores. We're not going to go via Bermuda. And then from the Azores through Gibraltar and into the Med, as Nat said. We will be taking on some extra crew for that trip.
we've got 4 crew, me and James obviously, and then we've got my brother Marcus coming from Spain to help us out, and we've also got Anthony coming from Australia. He used to work with us
when we were diving
way back, and so he's going to come out, fly over from Australia and help us out as well, so it's going to be amazing. We're actually really lucky that we've got that many crew and that we found crew. And what we've come up with is a 3-hour shift roster, so that we're doing 3 hours each and we're not getting burnt out.
Well, everybody gets 9 hours off then, don't they? So.
Yeah, and by having 4 crew, we're able to do that. So I've come up with 4 weeks just in case we go, it takes us a little bit longer. And every week we do different hour shifts, so it keeps rotating so that we're not doing the same times all the time. And that's about it. That's our plans revealed.
So one of the things that we've been discussing, but we haven't really implemented yet, is that by becoming a patron, you actually get to help choose where we go. A few people have asked what that actually means. So other than the large crossings, when we have alternate destinations coming up, so for example Europe, we want you to actually help decide where we go next, and that might be based on your personal experiences of actually traveling there, or what you've read, but as a patron you will actually get to vote on where we go next, which I think is pretty cool and not something anybody else is really doing. We don't know if it will work. It might actually totally implode and doesn't work, which means that's probably why nobody's doing it, or it could be quite successful, and you know, you guys get to help shape our trip as we go around the world.
We're very excited to kind of get it going because we haven't been able to do it because we didn't really know what plans we had. We didn't really know where we were going. But now that we have a structure and we have a plan, it'll be amazing to finally get you guys involved and be able to choose.
Yeah.
So,
well, we say plan. Our plan is just to go to Europe.
Whose birthday is it today?
Bye. Nat's gonna take me out for breakfast because I've been dying all week to go to this little French bakery that we've been to before, and we're gonna have coffee and croissants. So it's a perfect birthday morning.
And then lots of boat works.
And then boat works, so which makes me happy as well. So
that's right. And then pizza and a movie.
Pizza and a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's a nice little bonus. So.
The new sunnies.
Yeah.
Oh. Looking good. All right, what are you reading?
A few pages left of John Grisham's The Innocent Man. First non-fiction book that he's written, from my understanding. It's about a true story about a couple of guys that got sent to death row for crimes they didn't commit, and
it's a good read.
It's
I've
a
read
very
it
good
already.
read. Yeah, Nat kind of hijacked my book and skipped ahead, so I got a couple of pages left, so we're just waiting for our fiberglassers to arrive, so I thought I'd knock off a few pages before we go for brekkie.
James, you got a new friend behind you.
Who's that? How happy are you?
So it's James' birthday today, so we're off to the movies right now. I don't know what movie he's picked, but he told me that he wanted two things, and one of them was pizza, and the second one was a movie. So we're off to watch a movie. Happy birthday to James! Happy birthday to James! We're off to the cinema, but he's got to pump up the dinghy first. Happy birthday, dear Jamesy! Happy birthday to you!
So, job list today, guys. I've got a few things that I need to go and get, as well as things I need to work on. First and foremost, we were reviewing our flare kit, which is this. So we've got a combination of flares in here, as well as we've got a flare gun. Now, in preparation for our next big adventure, and in general, these should be up to date, and this is something that actually completely slipped our mind, is that these shells, along with these flares, have actually all expired. Now, only just recently, but nevertheless, they need to be replaced, so off to the store to buy some more. Luckily, they're not too expensive. I think these are about, you get a pack of 4 for about, I think about $38, $40. Same with the flares, they're about $40 for a pack of 4. The smoke ones are a little bit more expensive. They're they're considerably more expensive. They're about $80 for 3. But yeah, so first on the list is go get some flares because we want to make sure that we're complying with all the regulations. Everything else on board is up to scratch. Our EPIRB is registered now with our new boat name, in our names, and has been recertified, so that's all great. The life draft has been retested, so we're all good there, and all our fire extinguishers are tested and okay. So, I mean, as far as all the main emergency equipment on board, we're up to scratch.
One more thing, if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and that way you can follow our journey through the Atlantic. Next week on Sailing Zephyr, boatworks continue in St. Martin. Do not try this at home, kids.
You know life's too short, so let's not waste another.
And the most exciting news, my brother arrives from Spain.
Listen to touch